Alright, tutorial speedrun. I'm going to show you how to make your clips go from this to this. Look all smooth and stuff. Alright, so first things first, go to this link. It's going to be the first link in my description. Click Blur Installer, launch it. I got mine right here. Hit yes. When this shows up after you hit yes, just go through this. There's no viruses or anything you got to worry about, and I don't use Rife with my config, so I wouldn't recommend downloading it anyway. Although I do know it has fixed some people's issues with the program before to have Rife even if they aren't using it. I'm going to cancel it because I already have it installed, and it should make this shortcut here. Now open that, and make sure you got a folder where you want to have your clips and all that stuff in, because it's going to make an extra folder while you're rendering it in here for all the temporary like frames and stuff. And it's also going to make a config. Everything in this folder uses the config that's in the same folder as the clips, right? So say I got this clip in here. When I drag it in, it's going to say all this crap, continue render, yes or no. Now this config just appeared, right? Because it made the config. Now it's going to render this, and it's going to use whatever's in the config. Now I'll show you this while it's here, right? This preview shows everything it's doing. And this is the frame rate it's interpolating to. Will it be that frame rate? No, but it'll look like it. And blur output FPS, this is the final frame rate of the video. So if you're going to want to upload it to YouTube, it should be 60 frames because that's the max for YouTube. And then 480, it's going to smush all this down to 60. Basically the blur amount. One blur is blur just being enabled, barely noticeable. And 1.3 is the highest you should ever use in the blur setting. Anything higher than 1.3 will be muddy and smear too much, while anything below 1 will be actually unnoticeable. 0 is totally disabled. Now here's the one before it. Notice how it's like much less fluid. It's more choppy. Now here's how the clip looks after. There's definitely some amount of visible blur, but it's a clean, consistent amount that doesn't actually become annoying to look at. The benefit of Tekno Blur is that it's not as intrusive as other methods like RSMB or Flowframes or anything like that. And to reiterate, this folder that you put the original video in, that you open Blur, and you drag that video in, it's going to make the config file in the same folder. And that config will apply to everything you drag out of that folder into Blur. So make sure you change this so you don't just make a bunch of files you don't want. Other than that, that's really all there is to it. It's actually not that complex. And I hope this helped. Peace out.